All right, hey everyone. This is Granblue Radio number 401. Um, Last week was a fun and light episode. This week's this week's got a lot. We've basically got 13 new characters to talk to you about.
Yep, because right after we finished, a couple hours later, Valentine's came out,
Yep. And
and then right after that, well, not right after that, but then we got a rebalance and also an uncap. So let's get started.
yeah, let's just go. All right. Which ones? Let's start with the
Go in
Valentine's
order.
bunny. All right. So Valentine's Day characters. There's two new ones.
Yeah,
And
Lancelot in a dress.
the prettier Lancelot, is that what the new one's going to be?
No, because Lancelot's really pretty already.
That's true. Uh, so we've got a theme team of just a white ribbed sweater these days with Clarice and Makra and I forget who else was on the white ribbed sweater team. Oh yeah, Sandalphon. So anyway, here's Makura, and so the the too long didn't read description of her that I got was basically this is the iteration on Lancelot
It's
to
literally mostly Lancelot's profile,
mostly Lancelot's profile with like some
but better.
improvements. Yeah, exactly.
It's not even some improvements. It's actually overall just better.
Yeah. All right. So that means we go straight down to Divine Rabbit's Benevolence to start. So she's got hostility up and low defense. Uh,
That usually doesn't matter if you're dead, you're dead.
mhm.
And she wants to be hostility because she wants to dodge,
She doesn't gain meter on normal attacks, so that's one of the many Lancelot things she has.
and
She
also only double attacks,
oh,
but she always attacks twice a turn.
she always hits 4 times in a turn, and then just like her light version, she activates a 4-hit nuke when she attacks. Uh, Unlike her other version, she doesn't have to press a skill first, and she activates it on dodging, and it's the same skill and not like a separate thing that she gets from her two different linked skills.
Yeah, and this one it keeps the stacking attack defense down, right?
Hmm.
But also it gives her meter.
Right.
Here's the number one issue of Lancelot. He can get CA about every 6 turns.
Yeah, because he has to press a button for it and then fill his meter. Because his nukes or uh, his nukes, one, don't give him meter. Number two, they don't go off unless you've gotten to the glaciate threshold yet.
No, the worst thing is that his nukes that actually does the attack defense down does not go off until every 7 turns.
Hmm.
Yeah, he just has a normal nuke, four
Yeah.
hit nuke. Instead, it's not his skill one.
And then the thing that replaces her light version's thing is that so here's Snuggle Bunny. It's 5 turns, 12-turn cooldown, um, and it's supplement normal attack damage,
50k. Please remember that she double strikes.
crit,
30% increased damage.
debuff resistance, like it,
That's 100%.
yeah. And when she uses it, she gets a special buff. And when that
You know,
buff is
you
in,
they
yep.
really could just put that on the skill
Hmm.
instead of just saying, "Oh, when you use Little Buddy, you get the buff."
So the buff is she gets attack up, dodge rate up,
50% dodge rate, 20% perpetuity attack.
so 2-hit flurry, so that means with her 4 attacks, she's hitting 8 times and getting double effect out of the supplement normal attack damage. And when other Earth allies multi-attack, so non-CA, then she also does a 2-hit nuke. That's half of a Hase. Uh, yeah, yeah, that's a lot.
And also, if she CA, she cuts cooldowns by 1 turn.
Hmm.
Also,
Um,
she also gets the buff anyways if
from
she
CAing,
CAs.
yeah.
And a
Uh,
dodge all, which means that she's gonna trigger her normal nuke.
hmm. And then yeah, the last thing to just talk about is that she's got tender loving hair. which is the part of it is the Vikala button, where your entire Earth team dodges all.
That's
Um,
isn't that in the Vakala's Earth version?
that's in Vikala's Earth version. Vicky gives other things along with it that are different. So this one gives Dispel Cancel, which waits around until you're trying to be dispelled, and one time bonus Earth damage.
Please read again.
One turn bonus Earth damage.
Bigger difference.
And so, um, the
It's 30%, by the way.
yeah, the implications are very clear. They wanted her to be just a beast and attack a lot. And if you actually do have her in a team that has meter gain, then she'll CA pretty reliably, actually, because she'll keep gaining 20 meter a turn.
I mean, she already keeps getting 20-meter a turn.
Hmm.
Like, unlike Lancelot, she can fulfill her own meter.
Yeah.
And usually it's like around 30-meter a turn.
Hmm. So yeah, based on what they've done to this, like the bigger thing is that so Lancelot right now basically I foresee a rebalance of him to integrate a bunch of what they've learned from him and what they put into her in here.
I expect that in 3 years.
At some
There's a
point,
reason for that, and we'll see that with a certain other character that we have that we're gonna talk about later.
yeah. All right. So there's that. Anything else to say about Bunny? She's just ridiculous.
Please buff Lancelot faster.
Yeah. The only thing left to say about Bunny is that I do find it amusing that her weapon has blow on it, which is a
Which
modifier
she
that
can't even use.
she herself cannot benefit from because it requires the third hit of a triple attack.
Yeah, well, it's a decent weapon too. It gives Fandango
Hmm.
stamina, and also as a main hand, when you CA with it, you gain double strike.
Where is that? Where's the fork? Oh, it's a fork, which means the spear, right? I think.
It is a spear.
Yeah, that's right. Fourth fork of the fluffle, which is challenging but fun to say. Yeah, stamina, blow, fandango. All right. Anyway, let's move on then.
Yep.
Our next one is our next seasonal evoker. So seasonal evoker, seasonal divine general. We've got Lobelia, who takes a bit of his identity from Earth as well, but instead of consuming a unique thing, he also consumes the sweet shells, but he also looks at crests along with those. So he integrates two different kinds of like
He also
caster
works with full
mechanics.
auto.
Yeah,
Because in normal Lobelia, he will keep casting skill 1 because they're all red buttons until he gets 10, and then he casts skill 3. Skill 3 does nothing on subsequent casts, by the way.
yeah. So most versions of Lobelia full auto these days turn off everything but skills 2, and if you have skill 4, you also hit skill 4. But it's completely unnecessary. Like right back here, Earth Lobelia, unless you are playing manual, in which case he's still, a king because of this Warbringer right here. Then you ignore a bunch of other skills because you'd rather not have him use his crests on this one, and you also this overrides the ability to actually hit Warbringer in full auto. So yeah. All right, back to the dark version though. So because of the way that full auto goes, he'll try to cast yellow first, which will try to eat 7 of his shells, but it's also unrecastable, so it'll stop trying to hit itself after the first time, just like the Earth version to be fair. But
And it does give a buff to everybody. And it
yeah,
does allow them to do stuff when using skills.
mhm. So yeah, when he does this one, everybody gets defense up, armor,
50% defense,
armor,
20% armor,
supplemented skill damage,
50k.
And then he gets the lightning bolt style, so when they use a skill, he does dark damage.
It's a 450 nuke.
Actually, they do dark damage. There's a difference. And
Yeah,
uh,
it comes from them, not him.
yeah, and after normal attacks, they also do it.
Smaller nuke is 300k.
But it's still significant. All right.
Uh, I immediately saw this and I'm like, man, I wish I had this character just so I can make Evangeline do more skills.
Yeah, that sounds fair. But then, once he's hit without end, then he will try to get back to 10 sweet shells to hit a harmonic impact. And harmonic impact is 10 hits of damage. It's 3 turns local multi-attack down. Triple dis
100%
Yep.
DATA, by the way.
Yeah, that number will come back, by the way, later today. Uh, Triple dispel and then heal.
The heal's 4k. It's pretty good.
hmm For
However, he does not have a heal node, which is funny.
And also, it's a heal that is going to eat 10 resources, so it's
I
not
mean,
going to be up that often. Yeah.
everything else is good.
Yeah. And then the last thing he does, if he can't hit any of those, he hits Abyssal Spark, which gives him a crest, which gives everybody else meter, including himself. Uh, it once again, just like his Earth version, gives him triple attack for a turn.
It's one time, not one turn.
Okay. And then 6 hits of dark damage, which is an update
Way
from his
more
Earth version.
than his
Yeah,
one nuke.
yeah. And then, so go ahead.
So yeah, his gameplay loop. He wants to get. How does he get shells? He is given a crest, or is attempted to be given a crest, he
Yeah.
will get a one shell.
And the thing is that he does not consume crests actively. He can only eat them passively, where if he
It,
takes a hit that would
lethal
kill him,
damage. Yeah,
then yeah, he will eat 3 of his crests. Otherwise, he doesn't actually interact with crests in his skill set. Like, he doesn't necessarily care how many he has. He doesn't use them except for that survival. Um, he is there for other people to get crests because of this twisted longing, where he has the Oblivion crest to everybody at battle start,
which
and
makes it so that you can actually, without using the summon,
mm-hmm,
I have a crest at beginning to use your Mana Diver abilities
yep,
without pressing a button.
yep. And then everyone gets skill specs up based on Oblivion crests, which I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it's usually pretty decent.
50% at 5 crests, 50% skill damage, 10% cap.
Yeah, pretty solid for just being a passive. And then the last, oh, go
So,
ahead.
you have to think about synergies with this at that point, and
hmm
Dark has a really good crest engine.
Yeah, even
Unfortunately,
without the thing,
the
yeah.
best ones are the limited ones, though.
Yeah, there are so many limited crest characters. Then again, so this was something that was pointed out. In every holiday season since 2023, Dark has gotten a new seasonal character in that mix, which,
Yep.
in summer, that's everybody gets something. That you kind of ignore that one. But when it comes to like Halloween and Valentine's, those are only a single release, and it's kind of notable that like 5 of those in a row basically we've gotten a dark character. And so it's like,
Yep. I'll see you in summer where we get another Dark character.
yeah. Well, see you next month when we have the out of off season yukata and um swimsuit or quote unquote summer character too. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, so if you look at the Dark characters that give crests,
hmm
Hecate cares about getting crests, but she cares about getting crests from the MC specifically, so
yeah, it's much more
lol.
restrictive.
Magisa cares about having 5 crests in general, anyways, and she can uh, give crest easier too. So that's actually the better friend.
hmm
Everyone else is pretty selfish,
Yeah, I think
especially Manemo.
I was gonna say, doesn't Manamel only give crests to herself?
She only looks at crests on herself.
Yeah, yeah, Oblivion crest to her, and number of activations based on Oblivion crests. Yeah, she just cares about getting them herself, so she's like, give me the crests. Yeah.
Lazy Arun.
That's my girl.
But anyways, yeah, anyways, and then everything always goes back to the stupid illustrious weapons.
Yeah.
Zosimus exists,
Yep.
and Zosimus is broken.
Yep. So anyway, excellent character in Lobelia. Um, and yeah, I know there was an exact corner of the internet that knew exactly what they wanted out of this, and then you know what? Like, good for you, Lobelia likers. This story was apparently exactly up your alley in terms of like what they wanted out of a seasonal story for this character.
Yep. His EMPs are funny because he just gets two more crit nodes and two skill damage caps. He doesn't need the crit nodes.
I
You
was
could
gonna
give him
say.
at least one heal node. And because he's human, he gets double attack. Yay!
Yay! When he has a button on no cooldown that gives a triple attack. Yeah.
Yay!
Yay.
Anyways, things we also didn't say is that his
Mhm.
CA gives stacking defense down and activates his CA activates twice when he's in when disastrous devotion's up. So,
Yeah. He does a lot.
good skill.
Like,
He does all the skill damage he needs. He does all the debuffing you need, kind of.
mhm. His passive gives you some defense. He's not a defensive character, but he at least doesn't like actively bring your defense down.
Yep. And I wish I had him so I could have eventually cast more magic.
Yeah. I missed out on him, but I will live with this. Um, are we moving
Anyway,
on?
see you in the anniversary ticket where he's not going to be available until
Yep.
next year.
Same with the bunny. They are unavailable because it is too soon, essentially.
They should really just make like a summer one,
Yeah, that
a
lets you
summer
have
tickets.
Valentine. Yeah.
Yeah. Although it's really just really annoying trying to get Valentine's characters at all.
Mhm. Like it only happens to me once every like 3 years that I try. Out of that, I'm like, no, there's too much important stuff coming next month. All right. Um, next up we have Anthuria. So Anthuria, we should talk about her rebalance first, and then talk about what happened with her uncap.
So Old Antheria used to have two modes, one for hype and one for dodging.
Mm-hmm.
We now said we don't need modes. She'll just do it.
Yeah. So her CA um will always give her hype. The mode thing here, alluring step, um, it's changed so that it is now instead of a mode change, it is just give MC and herself meter, and also boost the CA specs. And when she is at hype 4, then everyone else gets it too, instead of just her and MC.
So they took part of the holiday version where it was she targeted MC and then just said, "Oh yeah, hype for everybody have fun."
Mm-hmm. Uh, and then the quick step support and the silent step support have both changed also. So now she cares about having hype 2 or higher at the end of the turn. And then she gives stacking attack and defense to fire characters.
So it used to be that Silent Step was the one that gave defense,
Mm-hmm.
and also both of them had to be triggered upon dodging.
Mm-hmm. And so then silent step is it keeps the upon dodging part, but it's the hype extend and the heal, and it doesn't require her to be in a mode. She's always doing both of them if she's eligible.
Yeah, they moved the quick step passive where she had to be quick tap down to
Mm-hmm.
here
Yeah.
to the dodge.
So they cleaned up a bunch of things. They're like, especially with things like full auto, people didn't like pressing the button, and so she just does both now. Now let's go
Good.
actually talking about what she does herself. Here's Anthuria. So first upgrade she gets, um, instead of just her hype, everybody gets hype.
Uh, hype in fire is actually pretty good.
Yeah,
Like I've ran the hype team that just loops.
Yeah,
CAing over and over again.
it's Aoidos and Lilel, was it? Or is it Bale and Lilel?
It was Aoidos and whoever felt like as a fourth person.
Okay, got it.
Don't need Lilel in order to fulfill it
hmm It's just that
because she just also just tunes off hype, but it's like you don't need that much hype.
I remember the main thing that Lilel was for her chain burst
De-
effect or something like that.
yeah, her defensive effect.
Yeah. Um, what was it? What does she do on chain burst again? It is. Oh, it's meter at the end based on her hype, and she heals and removes debuffs when she keeps that
At high
hype.
4,
That's right.
and also wing cut.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, she's really good defensively.
hmm
But I didn't have her for a long time, and I substituted her for Mugen because Mugen just gives me meter every turn.
hmm All right. So they actually didn't touch her abilities at all with this uncap. It all goes into the
Well,
support skills.
well, considering that they gave Alluring Sap a new ability.
Yeah. So the uncap doesn't change anything up here. It's all in the passives because Alluring Step is all new already. So we got Quick Step. When Quick Step upgrades, you don't just get the defense and attack up, um, but she also gives supplemental CA damage
Up
and
to 300k.
meter every turn, which is diff which is separate from uplift, I believe, because it's just a thing that she does as
Is
opposed to a buff that
gained.
she gives.
The thing is that Aoidos also does this.
Mm.
Well, not the CA supplemental. He gives the meter too,
Mhm.
and because they're separate characters, you'll get both meters.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. Level 95. They add in the not only does she heal, but she also removes a debuff when she dodges, and has dispel cancel.
That one's good. That one's really good.
Yeah.
Especially since like a lot of bosses also need to hit you
Mhm.
in order to debuff you.
Mhm.
And she's always dodging because if she CA, she dodges. It's pretty good.
All right. Last one that she gets is her new skill 4, which I haven't unlocked yet. I'll get there. There's been a lot. There's a lot going on. A whole lot happened that day. I spent 3 hours reading all the other effects that happened. But anyway, so here's Wings of Flame. It is once again based on her holiday version, where she gives herself and a Fire MC a buff.
Wait, that's different than her holiday version.
Yeah, where she actually cares about what element that the MC is. Yeah, they learned.
Yeah, yeah, and they never fixed it.
They may fix it down the line because we're gonna get to
That
that
should have
later
been
also.
that should have been fixed like
Long
5 years ago.
Yeah. Well, there's things that were fixed after sitting around for 9 years that we'll get to later today also. So, all right, Wings of Flame. So when that happens, she gives CA reactivation, and the second time that she does it, she gets Alluring Step back, and for every time onward.
That's a weird one, only because of the fact that you can't cheat this cooldown
hmm
naturally. So
Right.
I guess if we get to turn 11,
hmm And then the actual Wings of Flame thing is extra fire damage when you charge attack, which she'll do twice, and yeah.
it's a
Um,
600k,
and
635k nuke.
MC does it
Uh,
twice, she does it twice.
yep. Do you like Rising Force? Rising Force is cool.
So it is pretty funny that in Fire you have two separate girlfriends, or you can have both of them, who
Is the other one
like
Clarice?
yeah. So and Thuria will care when your Fire MC CAs, and then Clarice um right over here. Uh, this one is on normal attacks. So, you've got your normal attack girlfriend and your CA girlfriend. So where's skill girlfriend? Is it Percival?
I don't know. I don't know. Personal's bad for this team.
Yeah.
You don't normal. He works with Clarice because she cares about normal attacking.
Hmm.
He's not. He doesn't like Antheria.
He really doesn't like Antheria at all.
Also, like I like Antheria can get rid of a buff on you, a debuff on you, while Clarice can get rid of buffs on the enemy.
Yeah. It's a nice little like comparison to make between these two characters.
All right, I'm waiting for Fire Deonta then.
So Fire Deonta would be the skill one. Yeah, I can see that.
Despite all her versions not doing CA damage at all and not
Yeah.
doing skill damage at all.
The joke is that skill girlfriend would be Hecate, but she can just give it to anybody. All right. Anyway, pretty cool update for Antheria. But yeah, very clearly overshadowed. Like if you like her, she works. She works even better than before. She's very solid. Um,
We need more hype characters because we literally only have like four in fire.
mhm, yeah, they'll slowly add them in, kind of like tuning and other things like that. But
Oh, did
I
you know
like
that
hype.
Drusilla has hype?
I absolutely forgot about that. I may have known at some point, but I
Yeah, she
definitely
uses your
don't know now.
rubies too when she sees.
Oh boy. All
Oh
right.
yeah, and then Summer Friday also gives hype only on Fridays.
And she doesn't have a passive to turn Thursday into Friday, does she?
No, because otherwise we would comment about that the first time.
Yeah.
No, she has multi attack rate on Friday.
Mhm. All right. So here's the meat. This is the thing that's going to take forever for us to go through. We've got fairly extensive rebalances. They said that they would be extensive, and they did not lie to us. In this particular case, the communications were very clear, the design intent was set forth, and here they are. So, um,
And also, they actually put up a post later, like talking about their design choices too, right?
yes. And the design choices essentially matched up with what they had said at FES.
Yeah, so
So,
you didn't need to translate that.
I really didn't. It was great. So, here we go. So Andre, the general thing was like he's going to be a good defensive character, and the harder that the enemy hits, the harder he'll hit. And so how would they do that? Well,
First, they made it so that he actually does stuff outside of just countering twice a turn.
yes. Also, just before we get into this, there were three universal changes that they made to all of the Eternals that we should just
Hey, remember that
gloss
thing about
over.
making their second passive useful?
Yeah. So, um, they changed all of their skill fours so that one, at level 150, they can be recast. They are universally still on a 10 turn skill standby, but also all universally can be cut by a condition that is based on the flavor of the character.
It only reduces their standby, right?
Right, the
Okay.
cooldown does not go down, and in fact, the two characters who can cheat cooldowns, Fior and Ayada, they had their passives reworked to accommodate for that. That says you can shorten the cooldowns for skills 1 through 3, but not 4. Um, and so that was one of the universal things. Another universal thing is that you'll see that they used to have the buffs go to everybody thing, which they learned through Seiphon was a bad thing. So now they're restricted to an element. So that's 9 years of oops that's been put through there. And then the last thing that they did to make it um, universal is that every single character gets unworldly water damage at the final level of charge attack. And what unworldly mechanically means is that they have a higher cap than everybody else. Like pretty much everybody else. You can um, see upwards of like 12 million or something like that in um, it, specific grids and boss fights. Um, with the CA focused ones, you'll see insane numbers. For the non-CA focused ones, you'll see extremely good numbers instead. All right, back to Onray though. So, um, Spiral Spear, this is adding on to last year's change to him because Spiral Spear became a skill that he used every time he was targeted. And that was a decent amount of damage, especially since he passively covers and substitutes for someone. So, having a 2-turn attack down, not bad.
Yeah, pretty good.
Uh, the they added to Arm the Bastion debuff immunity. Okay, sure.
That's useful,
Yeah.
especially since Arthur Bastion's only 6 turns.
Mm-hmm. It's a pretty
So
short
that's
cooldown for these.
pretty sure cooldown for 100% cut and avail. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Here are the big ones. So now that you can recast One Rift's Benediction, which was 50% off of all elements worth of damage to all water allies, and you would heal back some of it, the new one, along with those, gives you a counter passive for 3 turns. So when anybody on your team or everybody on your team is attacked by a foe, then you do a really beefy nuke. Like it's actually big, and it can happen 4 times a turn if the enemy attacks 4 targets.
Yep. That's a really good, especially since a lot of these fights are AoE that are in
Mm-hmm.
high end.
Mm-hmm. And so you'll casually get an extra 20 plus million damage a turn for 3 turns just for passing the turn. You know?
Just for existing.
Yeah, and that's 3 out of 10. And it's a pretty good benefit. Um, and then the next one that they did was they changed up Enlightened One so that he is now immune to being strong armed or cursed, which was one of the problems with his previous passive, where he would get hit down to 1 hit point, try to heal himself to full and fail.
Yep, because it's a heal, not set your HP to full.
Hmm. And so um, there are people who will now take a very specific amount of damage. Uh, this is applicable to Mugen, for example, because Mugen will always do exactly 100,000 damage basically. I can't remember if it's 5 nines or if it's actually 100k. Um, but you intentionally bring Onray down to red hit points, and then he's back up, and you get all of the things, you get all of the benefits because they also added a
Also, being immune to strong arm means that
yeah
Mugen's part where he makes you strong arm not work
yeah
for him specifically, but that's good.
right. But also he also now passively boosts all water allies' defense,
It's a
50%.
50% boost. It's really good
Yeah. So essentially, we look at this and it's like they made him a lot better on offense,
made
and
him
a
a
lot
lot better in defense.
better on defense. Yeah, and
And his requirement to reducing his standby on skill 4 be targeted.
yeah, which once again he has twice the chance of anybody else to get targeted because he's covering for somebody else permanently. This is assuming he's transcended to level 130. But
Well, we should always just assume that
yeah,
for these type of things.
yeah, like a lot of these have transcendence in mind. There are some that aren't, and so we'll get to those. Seaphon, like especially, but overall, the more targets that a boss hits, the harder that Onre makes your team hit. He has very, very usable defensive skills now, and I think that this very well suits the design intent they gave us.
This is way better than what we've had for many years.
Yeah. So this is a funny thing, is that we were talking about previous Mugen teams where like Onra wasn't as good as Anne or something like that. With this update, I've seen Onra take over for a Paladin MC. It's like I'm the Paladin now, which
Yeah, just get rid of MC. You can do that.
yeah. And it's like I don't care about. It's not gonna be Hase who comes in. It's gonna be this guy.
No, it's actually Hasa comes in. Your MC just doesn't exist anymore.
But yeah, uh, really solid. I support what they did with this one.
Yep. Yeah, we used everyone kept dunking on him for like many years, rightfully so, because he was not very good. And
Hmm.
now, look at who we bullied in middle school.
The Pringles man's back.
Oh man, thank you, Andre. I actually finished my uncap for him. Once they released this,
Yeah,
he was the last one I was missing.
yeah, as soon as I like we finished Records of the Ten last time, I'm like, I'm not gonna use this borrowed Onray. I don't know. And then as when this came out, I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. Like the CA effect that he gets from his Radiance of the Eternal is still the worst of them. But hey, if I'm using the character anyway, right? I'm just
And
gonna
he's
put it on
here.
there.
He's here for a long time.
Yeah, then
And you
it'll
know what? He makes you last longer.
yeah. And like the healing from one Rift's benediction is more relevant than ever because you get it 30% of the time instead of for 3 turns ever. So,
Yep. And not only that, also the fact that his CH is better now
mhm.
because of the global change to
Yeah,
all the evokers, not evokers, to all the Eternals. There you go. There's many groups of tens.
yeah. All right. But yeah, I support what happened to Anre. All right. So design intent for Toyen. Toyen was also one of the ones who got a big glow up last year in the buff wave.
Yeah, she
Uh,
really didn't need anything because they already reworked her.
yeah. So a lot of this, so they what they said about her was that she'll do more damage based on debuffs on enemies, and they'd already basically done that. And so what they did for her this time, so one, they moved pinpoint prey. It used to be that she had to CA first and then hit clincher. So now they just let her have pinpoint prey on turn one, which is her supplemental damage debuff. So um, on clincher plus plus, which is the level 130 version, uh, she also gets minus light defense.
You know, she needed another debuff, right?
Hmm. On her ultimate, Two Crown Strife, it went from up to 10 hits to always 20 hits.
Of 200k. Yeah.
And not only that, but she also cares about local debuffs now, which is new, I believe. She might have done
I
that before.
I
I
need to
can't
double check.
remember.
Give me a sec.
Yeah, yeah, because it's view history. Let's go take a look at 2024. No, she used to
She was
extend
already did
3.
that.
Never mind. Never mind. Cancel that one. So 20 hits, which is important because of her new passive. So they gave this is the other thing they gave her. So she has a new thing called Ultra Sight, which gets better and better as the fight goes on. So this is Ultra Sight for every 20 hits of damage that she does, up to the
Uh,
200th hit.
it doesn't need to be hers.
Oh, it's every 20 hits period. All right,
Yeah, every time he hits Del UFO.
yeah. Then um, each level gives her bonus light damage up to I think 30.
Ultra side 30% bonus light damage. Yeah.
Yeah. And then every odd level, so I believe it's 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, she will get an additional hit of light damage after her normal attacks.
1 to 2 is 1 hit. 3 to 4 is 2 hits. 5 to 6,
Yeah,
7, 8, 9, 10.
right.
So yeah, every odd one.
Uh, that one is also pretty beefy because she's a lot of skill damage already. Like she's a character who enjoys her skill damage. She's got like her ultimate node is a skill damage cap node for 10% of it, but you know.
She also already gives herself flurry, and usually when she has depravity up, she triple attacks with
Mhm.
the chaser with
Mhm.
flurry.
Mhm. Like it's pretty easy to get 2 stacks of this every turn. And
You
so
know something funny, Dom?
what's up?
They printed a character named Uni.
uh there's also like
We
any
could give her instant recast.
yeah.
double recast on ended cooldown.
Mm-hmm. I was also thinking about like uh, the various things that you do to make a light character double strike, including having her swap with the bunny, the falsehood main hand tradition, or just having Nehan in the party. Um, and so yeah, like this ultra sight builds pretty fast.
Yeah,
Uh,
and it just ramped itself up too because of the extra hits.
mm-hmm. And it's pretty beefy. And the last thing that
But
oh,
I
go
would
ahead.
I would actually not do the bunny swap because that means you're doing turns where you're not trying to
Ex-
build up ultra sight.
Yeah, where she's not there. Yeah, I may take her just straight into the front line, which was where she was, for example, on my like Celeste team, Celeste Aider, uh, because I was just like, yeah, let's just have her and Utsusemi just do flurry things. Um,
Yeah,
well,
she's even better now.
hmm
Her requirement for lowering standby is 10 or more debuffs, aka you hit depravity.
yeah, and they're not immune to like 8 of them, because let's see, debuff resistance down hits, poison, burn, and putrefy almost always hit. Blind and charm some it has a pretty decent
Depends on the
mischance.
depends also on the fight.
Yeah, zombie almost never works. And then the sleep and paralysis local one are not available either. But the DA down, the TA
And then
down,
lethal hit hits. There's no more to debuff.
yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can pretty reliably ask for like 7 of these to hit on pretty much every fight in the game.
Yeah, and then don't forget pinpoint prey and
The light
light
defense
defense
down.
now.
Yeah, so it's pretty dang easy for you to meet this condition. Like almost all of these, it is very easy to meet the condition in any
Yeah,
fight
just
where you're
find
supposed to
someone with
bring them.
stackable attack defense down. It's like that's super easy to do
Yeah,
nowadays.
yeah. So, after a year ago when she was a clear winner, she is also a clear winner in this one, pretty much. Like they didn't need to do much, but they gave it to her anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, she actually dispels when she dodges now with her new Echo String Rights Plus, which is a level 150 bonus here. So,
yeah.
yeah,
The thing is that she's not a dodger, really, though.
true. Mostly she's relying on the blind, or it's the flurry turn, which is
Yeah, but
yeah,
if she's blind, if they're blind, that doesn't mean she dodged.
right.
Miss and dodge have two different procs.
All right, we're moving on to 3.
All right, let's see what Unga Bunga Gorilla in red goes.
So, uh, Threo,
Spoiler: her skill standby is Unga Bunga. I'm in red.
yeah,
Skill standby down.
yeah. So like, among other things, they made it so that her skill 1, previously it was way better to wait for it in sword mode than to hit it while in axe mode, which yeah, they fixed that. They just said, "Nah, here, have the amp on both modes instead."
Yeah, that was a weird one that they had before.
hmm Um, the sword mode, in order to compensate for the other mode getting better, it's now an extra 2 hits. Cool. The main thing
Really
is,
get nuke.
yeah, the main thing is the axe mode got way better to get the amp on, and then it'll also come up later. Um, and then Berserk Forge, her skill 2. The Is this the one that resets when she CAs all the time when you? Let me make sure.
I believe it is. Let me double check. You're talking about the EMP, right? Yep, Berserk
Yeah,
Forge.
it's Berserk Forge specifically. So this is the one that whenever you CA with her, it comes back. Period. And so this one, um, the first time you hit it, then she'll always triple attack. It gives her chaser now, so 30%. Um, and it'll also give her the full hostility, the dodge tank encounter. Sure. The thing that's important about this is that pressing this button gets her dunked on less because the ground zero shield went up. Like, one of the things that they did previously to prevent her from wasting this button or making this button unattractive was they gave her 3 undying charges. They're like, oh, Right. When she brings herself into the red, and then she gives herself full hostility with like a very small shield, she dies a lot. Let's uh let's fix that. And so they've done a second thing to try and make her sturdier while she's in this red 1% of her health red state. The sword mode gives her assassin now. So that's your reward for CAing. It's it's really nice. This is a lot. And then the rework to her ultimate, which was one of the least like exciting ones before, it now ends the cooldown for her all of her skills, except for itself.
Include include ground zero. Yeah. We're at low health. Let's ground zero again. Triple strike.
Yeah, triple strike. There's the if you're a sword, then it's assassin. If you're axe, then it's the bonus damage and everything, and then you get all of the other nice little benefits. Uh, the condition for lowering the skill standby is hit ground zero and then just stay alive. Don't
Which
don't
the shield went up to from
yeah
3K to 15K.
yeah. So it's like um, live long enough uh, between ground zeros to get the benefit. It's like, well, previously you had to wait until ground zero came back up again naturally, which was 6 turns. Now on turn 6 you just press the button again with the Three Tigers Blessing. Like no matter what, it's just back. It's nice. Um,
Yep. She hit hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, the Supernatural Plus, she now on triple attacks, which as a reminder, when she's in red health, she always triple attacks. She does a minus attack, minus defense, and a nuke. And that nuke, Supernatural Plus, it's 300k, which is, relatively solid once you factor in all of her damage cap ups and everything. Last thing,
Oh
so,
wait,
whoop, go ahead.
you said 300K. Wiki saying is 635K on the nuke itself.
Was it
Because 300K is the
the
supplemental
supplement?
damage.
Oh, that's my bad. I was reading the wrong line. So it's 630k, which is actually very strong. Yeah, the supplement damage is was good. The nuke makes things even nicer. All right. So the last things. So she has um her 150 120 slash 150 passive. So it gives her a boost to max HP, so that when she's at 1% HP, she has slightly more HP. Sure.
Yeah, that's good because
Yeah.
increasing the ceiling of that
Mm-hmm.
threshold is good enough because one of her things she gets is drain as well.
True. So now it's harder to bring her out of the red with her drain. And the last thing is that she has the Berserker buff of when she's red, her buffs can't be removed as long as once
Well,
you hit attack, etc. Whoop, go ahead.
wait. Well, yeah, that's just Earth.
Yeah, they normalized her with the rest of the Berserkers. So in terms of these numbers, she has reached where they wanted her to be. When she's in red health, which she'll spend almost the entire fight in, she's either in red health or she's dead, basically, or the fight doesn't hit hard enough to keep her in the red, in which case she's killed it already. Then she does pretty much the best per turn per attack damage in the element. And then you can, pair her up with the various attack boosters, the Olivias, um, the Glory Bringer MC doing things for anybody with sword spec, etc., etc., and she just gets even better. So, once again, rewarded for the work that you put in. She's you have a reason to CA, you have a good reason to hit all of her buttons in both of her modes, and she's yeah, she's gonna out damage your MC until we've gotten some more MC buffs in like tier 6 classes or something. See you in
Okay,
2028.
okay, but let's be honest. She also provides no utility, so the the MC is the utility
Yeah,
between the two.
this is true.
Her utility is kill the enemy.
Very true. Her utility is kill them. All right. Uh,
The greatest of debuff because that's one of Taiyan's debuff she can do is lethal hit.
yeah, when the enemy's dead, they can't hit you anymore. It's great. You're done. All right. On to four, who was also part of last April's wave, and his was underrated because a lot of people just don't play him enough. I loved his rebalance.
Here's the thing, and I've noticed it in our own chats, Dom.
Hmm.
People hate hitting buttons apparently.
Sometimes it's not just about being fast.
Yep, but
I know.
that's the
It's
brain rot I see every day.
I understand. I see it too. All right. So a bunch of the text here covers the restrict these to just the element that you are. Um, so keep moving down, keep moving down. They reworked Four Skies Sorrow. It is very different now. So
With the
before,
new Holy Haste that could be recasted.
yeah. So before Holy Haste was you get 5 red skills in a turn. Period.
And usually, what happens is that you cast Comedian Cross over and over again.
Yeah, you cast all on Gamadian Cross. If you were manual, then you would spend it on Carnage. But
But
now,
it's too enticing to not have Comedian Cross because all the debuffs they gave it.
yeah. So now it is 3 turns long. Um, it any red skill will dispel. So if you hit Carnage, then sure it dispels twice, but you get the dispel from Gamadian Cross, and if you have the upgrades to him, then you get to hit Gamadian Cross twice anyway. So you go 1, 1, 2, end turn.
You know, this has been helpful last UI fight.
Yeah,
Comedian Cross only hits twice.
yeah, end turn. His red skills come back, and then you hit 1, 1, 2, and then you end turn and 1, 1, 2. So it gives you 3 turns of this cycle, which is a absolute gob-stopping number of nuke hits and dispels. And yeah, as you said, this would have been real nice 2 months ago. When
Yeah, instead of hitting Carnage and dying.
yeah, um, the last things that he gets. So his cooldown reduction, or sorry, his standby reduction. Let's be very specific about this.
It's him specifically applying a debuff to a foe.
Yes. Um, and in order to support this, so that he doesn't just only do this on his Gamadian cross turn, is that on his level 150,
Upon taking damage.
yeah. So not only does he get the 1 turn cut to damage skill cooldowns, but he also applies attack and defense stacking down along with the nuke and the cooldown cut.
Yeah, that's good, especially since the way it's worded is that, and at end of turn it'll check that if he got hit or not, pretty much.
Hmm. And then, um, so his is probably one of the least consistent of the standby reducers because you'll get it on turn 1 from hitting Gamadian Cross. Um, if the boss
You
is
say this, but
eligible,
his sister exists.
yeah, fair enough. If the boss can be delayed, then his CA will do it. And then he has to get hit for most of the other turns when he doesn't have Gamadian Cross up. When, it's like a 10% chance to refresh a 5 turn cooldown, or he gets hit twice and it's up in 3 turns. So, you know, it'll come up a bit later than the others, but it's still good. So I personally like what they did here. And their design intent was that, yeah, the longer a fight goes, the more buttons he presses and the more damage it does. And that fulfills this. This is what he gets. And, as a person who's played this character for 9 years, I like it.
Yeah, I like the design they did.
Hmm.
They didn't have to do too much because they already did reworks on him already,
Hmm.
and also he already got his radiance bonus too.
Yeah. Um, the I'm just gonna have to remember. It's skill supplement, was it? No,
Skill damage cap and supplements.
it was that cap and supplement. That's right. And then
But yeah, they don't. I like the has to update all his things to say everything but skill 4 has a chance to reducing cooldown.
yep. All right. So hero's the one of the hardest ones to actually make work in a game like GBF is the healer. So Thief, they did not change the color of her buttons. They said no, we're not going to worry about that one. We're going to do something different. Uh, and so their intent was that she's a healer. They were not going to change the healer, but what they moved to focus on is hitting reincarnation more often. And so number one, her CA, Super Duper Special Attack Plus, which I believe is the 150 version specifically.
Plus is 150.
Yeah. It cuts the reincarnation cooldown by 3 turns instead of the previous one. So goes from 10 turn cooldown, you pass the turn, it's 9, goes to 6. And then you CA again at some point, which is actually going to be pretty easy with her rework. And she hands these out if you're playing in manual every like 3-4 turns, basically.
It used to be only a 1 turn cut.
Yeah. So this is really good. Um, the next thing that she did, so Blessing of Light, it is as of her transcendence a 5 turn cooldown with a 5 turn cut to debuff durations, and
That's important because there's been a lot of bosses that say you cannot remove your buff,
yeah,
your debuff, so you have to cut the cooldown instead. Which they over the years made a lot of characters just do that instead of straight up
right,
removing debuff. But having both the options is really good.
right. And then the other thing is with super special Holy Miracle Plus her level 150. Um, so she now has 3 separate things that this thing does. Number one, you take less dot damage. So at the end of your turn, if there's something like, the Bahamut or Super Ultimate Bahamut or a Poison, blah, 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 that does less damage to you. That is, the next thing is, depending on how many debuffs you have on you, she will cast Blessing of Light. She has a chance to. Um, I don't,
There's no numbers on that yet
yeah. But
because that's
here's
the hardest one to actually
test.
like test because you have being specific on how many debuffs you have on you really hard because there's some bosses that just say you have 10. Some bosses just say you have only 2.
Yeah. So Celeste 3, Celeste Aether Omega, um, was pretty infamous for putting like a gajillion debuffs that couldn't get removed normally on your team. And so people were bringing Tico in order to
Yep,
actually
because every
fight that.
time the enemy CAs, Tico has her CA in order to give you a vaccine.
Yeah. So now you can bring Thief, and Thief does that same kind of job, and makes Celeste a lot less grueling. Like they have spent so much time, and there's so many dark bosses where we're just like, please, please, can I just not spend my entire time debuffed in horror in it's like the original Celeste that put you to sleep. There was Anubis who would freeze you in place, and then that one was obnoxious. And then Celeste Ader, it's like, bring Thief. She's good. She's good for these. Um, all right. Other things that they did to this character. There's a new magic rebirth that they put onto reincarnation that says when you die, you not only come back to life, but you keep your buffs that you had, which is new and cool.
That's really nice.
Yeah. Um,
Oh, is it because they okay? So they moved it from the Magic Torrent then
yeah, they separated Magic Torrent and Magic Rebirth. So Magic Torrent is all of the offensive buffs that you get, and
for 15 turns.
yeah, and Magic Rebirth is the one that brings you back to life and goes away when you die. So that was a mechanical change so that when you die and it's consumed, then the rest of it stays.
That's cool. I like that.
She also starts with it now in Sorcery's
I
Prodigy Plus, level
I did
90.
notice that because she healed herself to death and Celeste and came back.
Yeah. Also, her previous passive that they gave her in April 2024, where she gave out buffs based on how much of her health that she had. So it used to be that she would hand out up to 4 buffs based on her health percentage. At 100%, she would give all 4 at the same time. Those 4 are still there. They added a 5th one, which is a very important one.
That one I when I saw your screenshot, I'm like, wait, hold on. That's super good.
So, um, she gave these out before, and they were nice but not like defining. It was light attack up to 50%, CA damage up to 100%, CA cap up to 25%, and overall damage cap up to 25%, and that one was really good. And now charge bar gain boosted stackable is
That's
the 5th one.
insane.
And something that people forget is that when she actually hits a button, or when she CAs, your entire team gains 10 meter.
Oh,
The
really?
CA is
It's
just
on CA.
natural. The CA isn't just natural. Like, but when she uses a skill, everyone gets 10 meter now. And when the boost is up there, then it's like I don't actually remember the number on the max out charge bar boost right now. Hold on.
Yeah, it's not on the wiki. You have to check like game with.
Yeah, I'm looking at game with at the moment. That's TN3. They don't have it up.
I mean, it's very new, so
It is. But yeah, so with all of these, oh wait, that's where the charge attack comes in. It's the condition for her lowering the cooldown on her team revive, which she can recast now.
yeah, it's really good. Huh?
Yeah. So like the first day that
Yeah, I
within
was about to say
hours,
she doesn't. I'm pretty sure she doesn't give meter. I see nowhere where she gives meter on
extra
CA.
meter, yeah. Sorry. But the first day, like within hours, people looked at this and went, I can solo the last boss of the game. And so they just
Yeah,
immediately brought her into Lucy and on Magna grids, that with a Transcendity turtle, and they were like, okay, we soloed it.
yeah, that's very big. Even though the teams are using other limited characters, that's
Hmm.
just super huge.
Yeah.
Like this character changes so much. Like people were like talking about Holiday Zoe, for example, right?
Hmm.
But this is way more stable than Holiday Zoe.
Yeah. And also, it's not even just the last boss of the game. We already said this. Celeste 3 was one of the most obnoxious fights that's currently available at the mid level of the game.
It's still obnoxious.
It is. She makes it
Did you
less
know?
obnoxious.
Did you know that it ignores her zombified resistance because why not?
Yeah, I know. But
It's
it,
I'm like, okay, game, whatever.
it's
At least
still,
she died and revived and now she's back
yeah,
healing me correctly.
yep. So yeah, um, Thief does what she says on the box.
She's more FA friendly now too
Yeah.
because Blessing of Light can happen naturally.
Hmm.
She already cast the Sunshine but when the HP is below 25.
Hmm. So yeah,
She is now fulfilling her role of being the best healer.
and also, yeah, she auto casts her revive on herself. That in and of itself makes her way better just in terms of she triple attacks more, she hits harder, she gave
As
her,
Chaser,
yeah, she has chaser, she gave herself uplift, so
defense up, yeah,
she CAs way more often now. She does a lot more just passively from her casting reincarnation on herself at the start of the fight.
and reducing the reincarnation by 3 turns instead of one is a way bigger difference.
Yeah.
And even then, reincarnation only lasts for 15 turns.
Hmm.
It was you are always gonna have uptime on somebody. Now you have it on more people.
Yeah. It's very, very reasonable to have it on your entire team all at the same time, which is huge.
Yep, I like it.
Yeah.
Like I always after the first rework, I was always actually already using Thief because of the passes you got, the passive buffs you got.
Mhm.
But now I'm just actually just gonna use her in like general things, even
Mhm.
without
Yeah,
her casting actual skills.
absolutely. Big ol' safety blanket. Anything else to say about Thief?
This safety blanket hits hard.
Yeah, she actually hits hard now. The universal unworldly CA change, and then just having 15 turns of Magic Torrent at the start
Yeah,
of the
did
fight.
you
Yeah.
characters that don't stack with her her buff?
Mhm.
It's just Mayhan and Sandalphon. That's it.
That's a good list.
Yeah, because it's skill unique.
Mhm. All right. 6. They basically just said he dodges things and hits hard. Um. All right. So Gate of Sin, the damage amp went from 30% to 60%. So your reward for hitting this button was already good. It got better. Um, Thunder Flash can no longer be copied. All right, sure.
I didn't even know it could be copied.
Yeah. Um, Gate of Demons now dispels, and it hits a second time if his Heavenly Howl is 3 or higher.
And then you scroll down a bit actually.
Yeah. Heavenly Howl of Karm starts battle at level 3 Heavenly Howl.
All right, cool. You know,
And then his Transcend passive that just gives him +3 at round start. So if you've transcended him, then he starts at full power. He
it starts at 6.
he starts at 6. His Thunder Flash will already give him the double strike. The Gate of Demons will already be double hitting. His self buffs that he gets for existing will already be maxed out. So um, there's those. And then, yeah, he gets to actually hit 6 Ruins Enlightenment more than once, which is enormous.
Dollar Shell double strike, pretty good. Double strike for 4 turns, that's pretty good. How
Yeah,
does he lower his counter claw? Have his end of turn of being heavily howl 3 or more. Cool.
yeah,
So you'll probably get 6 ruin on your sixth turn
yeah. Basically, he has to have taken like white damage or reflect damage 3 turns in a
every
row.
time.
Yeah. So, and that's all they did, and that's all he needed to do. They gave him his radiance, and he starts the fight with a one-time chaser, and
Yeah, he
he
was very good. It's
he was
like
already great.
he's fulfilling what he's supposed to be doing. So
Yeah. Um, like I saw people joking that like 6 is Games' precious baby girl, and they're not wrong.
maybe we'll get Shing next time.
Oh, that would be cool. All right, moving on. So here's Seiphon. Their intent for
Big
him,
CA man.
big,
Right afterwards, it's gonna be the next big CA man.
yeah. So big CA man with Seiphon. And then the other thing that they said about him is that he's, supposed to be really good at breaking omens. Um, so they didn't actually change anything about breaking omens in this one. He doesn't debuff or anything like that. What they did is, so here's Cora de Leone. Um, and now at all levels, this is not like transcend specific buff. Um, as long as he's reached Sword Shine 3, which the
Man, that's so
transcend actually
hard.
help. This that it's harder when he's pre-transcend, but when this thing is also still active. But once he's transcended, it's like, oh, you sneeze and he gets to Sword Shine. Um, but full team, full turn damage immunity, and it doesn't consume the Sword Shines. It just has a minimum requirement. So just that, and since it's a 14 turn cooldown, it doesn't get cheated downward. Then it's a very big reward for having that ability up at the right time.
We have our panic button. Our
Yeah.
panic button also hit hard.
Yes. Um.
It's not like Win had problems having it unchallenged. So
Yeah. Or it was unchallenged. It was like 7 different forms of
dodging.
yeah, dodging and Boonsheen and whatever it's called, mirror image. Uh, so the other things that he got, other wind allies get special CA cap up also instead of
Oh, that's good.
yeah. They gave him like 150k supplemental on his previous one. But anyway, so 7 stars brilliance now that it's recastable. It has a shorter cooldown than Cuore de Leone, which is part of why this his skill 3 actually feels more like an ultimate than 7 stars brilliance does. Um, but yeah, uh, sword shine levels as long as he's 3 or higher, aka he doesn't get hit in the face a bunch of times, is how you lower that skill standby. He gets extra special CA damage cap when his sword shine levels are high, and yeah, um, big CA man do big CAs.
Yep, that's all you need to know.
Yeah, I put that screenshot that Reno gave us of him just hitting. Notably, it is a sub 10% super ultimate Bahamut where you don't
Which
hit
ends as
very hard
stacks.
with 10 Earth stacks, and he hit it for 24 million, and we're just like, bravo, CA man.
CA man's doing his job.
He
Good job,
really
CA
is.
man.
Yeah. Speaking of CA man, they barely touched 8 at all.
Okay, so here's the thing. 8 was actually already perfect.
Pretty much. So now that 8 Life's Pilgrimage can be recast, they gave him the following things. They gave him 3 turns of charge attack reactivation, which is actually significant. Like, but also they gave
That's
him,
so big. Yeah.
yeah, they gave him a third form of CA cap up. So we have CA cap up, we have special CA cap up, which is based on the fight, and then if the boss itself lowers the cap, then he says no. And so he can also hit those crazy high CA numbers along with Seathon. Um,
On top with, anytime he CAs, you have water damage cut. If chain burst happens, which he'll do by himself,
yes.
he will also give you 100% debuff res and dispel cancel for that turn.
Hmm. And so the
Uh,
base,
his
yeah,
his way of cheating out a Life's Pilgrimage, just
chain burst.
see a chain burst and it will happen.
Yeah. So the thing about Aota is that it doesn't look impressive, and then when you actually play it, like, so it doesn't change how he plays at all. He plays exactly the same as before.
Surprise, CA man do CA.
The main thing is that the part where he goes from massive damage to unworldly damage is basically what they did. They're like, yeah, lift even more of the cap. CA man hit many high number. That's it. We're gonna
Yeah,
keep
that's,
moving
that's
down.
all. That's all you needed. That's
Yeah,
literally like he's just doing what he did.
yeah. Uh, so Neon, we were talking about this, and their design intent was that she's a support who supports via buffs and debuffs, and so we were talking about how she probably needed like 1 or 2 more debuffs in order to be really where they wanted to hit that target. And guess
And they
what they
gave it to
gave her?
her.
Yeah, they gave her 2 new debuffs.
The
So,
spawn Descant
uh,
on Nina Nana is really good.
um, I can't remember which one's which. Despondent Descant is the one that auto dispels every turn.
Correct.
Yeah. So the new Despondent Descant, it's a 6 turn local debuff on a 6 turn cooldown. So as long as you don't hit, you know, diminishing returns, or something like that, then it will just always be on.
Which you're gonna hit diminishing returns.
Yeah.
It'll eventually happen, but
Right.
most fights, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Especially since they changed her hit rate.
Mm. So the following things happen. So it's a local debuff. It's attack down, accuracy down, and also end of every turn, um, it will dispel them. The only thing that I can even think of close to this is the Summer Beelzebub buff that you get, or
Hmm.
and so this is close to being the first of its kind. I don't think we have one yet, but we'll probably see this in the future.
The only issue I could see happening is stupid Unify also putting the spell cancel on itself, and it's on the turn where Nina Nana fell off.
Hmm. Hmm.
But usually during these instances, a sleepy man's also on your team anyways.
Yeah.
But then you still have to deal with the spell cancel, the veil, and then
Hmm.
you get sad.
So yeah, her CA, by the way, they upped her damage on two different fronts because the little nuke that she did after that is no longer that little. It's
Oh, it's no longer just 200k.
yeah, the new number is, I don't know how much higher it is, but it feels better. Uh, so that's the first thing. So Nina Nana, that debuff that it puts on, other than Comatose, very good. The other one, Serene Fantasia on her
Her
ultimate.
ultimate.
So the Serene Fantasia debuff is it's the Ray and Grand Percival debuff of, if you do elemental damage at all this turn, it just shows up as a 0. And having that reusable on a 10 turn cooldown, while
It's pretty
also,
good.
yeah, it's
It's
really
actually
good.
better than all the other ones. All the other ones are usually 12.
Yeah. And then the way that you cut the standby is to have at least 9 buffs
Ah, funny.
on her. So she
Let's see
herself is
here.
worth what? 3, 4,
Quelia gives 40,
5,
3 buffs right there.
4 because of the harmonics.
Harmonics.
So that's 4,
Crit up,
5,
shield,
6,
keen, amp.
7, 8. So you need one other buff on her for 5 turns.
That's not hard.
It's really not hard at all.
Like even if you do like Sleepy Man coming from back from front, he also gives a buff on chain burst.
Hmm. And so yeah, basically that's what they did to her. They gave her 2 new debuffs, and those debuffs are very strong. And
My favorites I saw was someone doing like it doesn't work all the time, and they're like they did it on Siegfried who's at full stacks.
oh yeah.
The one fight where it says for when I'm at full stacks, I ignore your debuffing.
Hmm. All right. But yeah, she's actually really good against Siegfried. Like the having like I had already been using her against the original version of Siegfried because she had 2 blue buttons and an element that is short on blue buttons. But now with the dispel every turn, then she joins the dispel every turn club, and that's valuable,
Yeah,
especially
you just have
since
to you just get
yeah.
sad when it lines up incorrectly.
Hmm. All right. But yeah, that's pretty much what they did to her, and it works. It's really good.
Yep.
All right, so DJ, you're gonna need to walk me through TN.
All right, here's the most inconsistent person to lower the cooldowns. I usually get her thing on turn 7, by the way.
Okay. So where do we start with TN?
What were the changes first? I actually need. I don't know what was changed.
Okay. So number one, one of the requests that you had was that her intense bullet now gives you 2 of the random debuffs instead of just one, and she'll
Cool.
double
We
cast.
it took
We
us like 3 years, 3 4 years from Hal Mal coming out.
Yeah. So that's one. Number two. So there is a new debuff on Stardust, which is her skill 3.
Yep, Scattered Stardust is indefinite duration, can't be removed. Multi attack is lowered from the boss. Skill damage is supplemented, and the specs are better when they are in break. I do not know the numbers for this, by the way.
Right, but those of us who were testing said that for skill damage teams, it was noticeable and significant for the supplement. So that's one. Um, Number two, so treacherous trigger. Uh, let's see. So she gets an amp boost against break along with the crit. So that's a new thing there. So whenever they're in break, she does amped damage along with the other bonuses that she gets.
Yeah, unfortunately enough, her first action is usually Final Order, which forces break
Hmm.
with Assassin, but the Assassin does not get dispelled when you skill damage.
Hmm. So those skills will do amped damage as well once she's hit the final order. And then Last Hope used to be, um, let's see, it was at bounty 10, then she did supplemental, and now every time that there is bounty, she gets a stacking incremental amount of supplemental instead of just zero or all of it.
Yep.
Which,
So, so you go from it still maxes out at 100k because bounty only goes up to 10,
right,
but you now have the extra supplemental damage on your second cast skill 1, for example.
and then that goes on to the Stardust effect as well. So you'll have like at at Transcend, you'll have at least 6 stacks of bounty already for these 10 hits here, and then for the
Well,
attack and whoop, go
you
ahead.
you kind of want Stardust out on first is the issue,
Okay. So there's a little bit of like an
but
order of operations thing that you have to make choices or sacrifices on
yeah, but then you just stop caring after a while
after turn
because
like 4.
1.
Yeah, turn.
No,
Okay.
you stop caring after turn 1.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so her condition is actually dealing damage 10 or more times in a turn, so on her CA turn, that doesn't go down. You're right.
Uh, Here's the thing: on her normal attack turn, it also doesn't go down.
Mm, it
Guess
has
what? She is guaranteed TA with the chaser.
on
That's
turn 1.
6.
Yeah, okay.
If you have Zeta that's 9. Where's
Mm-hmm.
your last one?
So yeah, it basically comes from the intense bullet turn and the Stardust turn.
Those are the same turns.
Then those are synced up. Yeah. Well, intense bullet isn't always synced up because of the new refresh on her CA, but
It's
it's
actually, yeah. If you have good enough multi attack, it is synced up.
mm. So it's basically every
People complain about her single attacking. I'm like, I don't see that issue because I have multi attack in my grid.
right, but in this case it's just the intense bullet. Basically, whenever intense bullet is up, the standby goes down. All right. So she and her brother have the most inconsistent way of lowering it.
And her brother's way better at it than she is because her brother just needs to be attacked
Hmm
and take
hmm
damage.
So yeah, so that is all 10 of them. And yeah, certain skills and charge attack descriptions before the balance update. We'll update these soon. Um, the wiki still doesn't have all of these details and stuff up yet because there was just so much.
There's too much.
Yeah, Umikin was saying it's like it feels like we've got 9 new characters and then Ayata, who just didn't change in
He was
significant enough
already
ways.
he was already perfect.
You can yeah.
People just don't like CAing, but he was perfect.
Yeah. All right. So that's all 10 of them, and I have to say that in terms of setting up expectations and then, you know, releasing this, I think that all of these hit the goal. We
Oh yeah.
haven't said that for a balance wave in a very long time.
When was the last balance wave we had?
Jeez, they happen fairly regularly. It might have been December.
We had the update to the two of the Eternals.
Hmm
I don't remember.
Yeah, but this is the one. This is one of the largest ones because they usually do 6 at a time or 4 at a time.
You got 10.
We got 10.
We got 11. That theory also changed.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But
The 11th of the June 10.
all right. So the last thing to talk about, um, just a little brief thing. Uh, we have in so there were a couple things buried in this update. Number one is that um, trial battle they've just officially gotten rid of the trial battle character who was on like Fire Societe for like 7 years or something. It was a long time.
I mean, that's how they had a lot of like issues with
Yeah,
other people outside of side games finding
yeah,
stuff.
true.
that they
So
stopped putting trial battle stuff as a
yeah,
result of those.
that's just gone. And then a long-standing bug that was probably unintended but had been left alone for 9 years was oh, it's at the bottom of the maintenance completed one, all the way down here. So copying Intense Bullet used to copy Tien's treacherous trigger that made it so that they all land.
Yeah,
You
that's
no
not
longer
part of the button.
no, it's
That's part
part
of
of,
our passive.
but copying it used to copy both parts. So they've now separated those.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lunaloo.
And True and
All these
Goldeneye and
non-fire
yeah.
characters.
People are like, well, I guess we just hit the four possible bounty hunter buttons on the MC now instead, which she gets to surplus bounty very quickly. So I think the game
Yeah,
has just
like
marched on.
especially since they made her so that she can double cast skill 1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um.
it's like, oh no. Anyways, it was already here.
Another thing is that the Knickknack Academy has Step 8. Once you have finished Step 8, it basically gives you not only one of every Revenant weapon, but also one of every um, Rusted weapon, both of them at full stars.
That's really cool. I
And
like
then
that.
and then says, okay, it also gives you like all of the R weapons that used to take forever when we were young in this game.
Oh, to unlock the
The
stupid
shop.
shop part.
Yep. It is no longer tied to Unite and Fight or a bunch of like quests that were pretty obscure.
They should
Um,
just remove that.
yeah. But
Like, there's no reason other than to be annoying.
yeah. But basically, they give you everything but the crystals essentially to fill out one Eternal. And
Okay,
then
I like that.
there's an about the Eternals button that tells you, hey, who are these people and what is sort of their design intent? What do they do? What's their job? So let's go in here about the Eternals. Their weapons. Then you go, it's like, here's Fior.
He
Uh,
Angie.
Angie. But it's like, not sure who to recruit? Here are the three that people, these are the top three for new players. Here's Ground Zero.
Yeah, I like that's the description.
Yeah. Here are drop rate up for Tien, which have always made her like the most popular of them to get first. And then here's Cora de Leone. He not only gives your entire team 100 meter, but also makes them invulnerable for a turn.
Wowee.
Wowie zowie. Yeah. And so this is a pretty welcome thing here. Um,
I like the recommended table. That's really funny.
yeah. And then basically the last thing to say is that we're back in Records of the 10. They've made it lighter, but not, but still like there's still a couple things that I'm looking to improve on for the next time.
Can
Nightmares are
I
still
not?
kind of meaningless. Oh, go
Can
ahead.
I not look at the animation without reloading?
Um, I I'm told that the minigame this time around is actually fun, and I'm sad that I haven't gotten it yet. Like I'm almost done with lap number 3. And basically with the new missions, I counted up the new stuff. The new missions essentially are worth like about 3/4 of a lap if you just do dailies, and then the hold on, where's the what's new? Um,
Yeah, because like the dailies give you like 50 steps.
the dailies give you 50, and then the
The
new
missions also
missions
give
they
you
gave.
stuff,
So the
steps as well.
yeah, and they were actually very front-loaded missions also, which is very important. So
Oh
it's
yeah, just do the
50,
hard, very
100.
hard or extreme. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 150 there, and then another like essentially 300 from dailies. So that gives you almost half of a lap on its own. So it's like, oh, not bad. And then the new golden tortoise, it gives you 50 instead of 12 steps. So I have grinded this one less. That said, I'm still waiting
Where my
for.
mini game?
I want my mini game. I want the actual mini game. Look at this. He's got a little jump man. I want to play this mini game.
Sorry, RNG. Choose your road. Your roads only have, but your roads only have bosses. Good
Yeah.
luck.
All right. Um, and that's it for this time around. So, next week you're gonna be on a plane to Europe.
Yep.
But we'll basically next week will just be a look at two new characters for and then whatever the anniversary event starts giving us. Because we're gonna be starting to get previews of that pretty soon.
And
Um,
then the week after, we're both taking off.
yes, because that'll be basically a whole lot of nothing until the anniversary stream, and then when we get back, there'll be a lot
Which
to
you're
talk
not,
about.
which you're not doing.
Yeah. Ah, boy. But yeah, so this is one of the better updates they've done in a while.
Oh yeah.
I'm a big fan.
The Eternals actually feel powerful.
Yeah. There's a lot of Honki. They're getting serious. It's nice. All right. With that said, that was an hour and a half of both of our time. It was a fun time, but it was still an hour and a half.
I
So,
hope you were able to be recording just in case.
especially since there's the Twitch storage update that's happening soon, where
Yeah.
100 hours or what now it is saved. Well, that's the thing is VODs are unaffected. It is highlights and uploads, and the thing is that highlights and uploads were what some people were using to um, save their VODs instead of saving them locally or saving them on YouTube. Uh, I will not make any other comments beyond that. I am an employee of Twitch, so
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, if you look at your thing, your last like three VODs are up.
yeah. All right. So anyway, um, that is it for this week. March is coming in very soon. There's a lot to be excited for. But in the meantime, thank you, DJ, for hanging out with us and
Hmm.
talking shop.